Right now on Upfront.
44 days to go.
Forward is where we go.
Vice President Kamala Harris rallying her base in Madison, the Trump campaign in western Wisconsin.
We're going to win Wisconsin together.
And now the surrogates flooding the state as mail-in voting is now underway. This Sunday, inside the Harris rally and the battle for Wisconsin. Plus, Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democrat, now on the campaign trail for Donald Trump.
On the front lines,
if they disrupt the process, they will be removed.
The local election officials under intense scrutiny, and now their bipartisan plea to trust the state's elections. Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director Paulina Gutierrez and Washington County Clerk Ashley Reichert with us together.
The RFK factor. The court's just hours from a critical decision.
Mr. Kennedy has no one to blame but himself if he didn't want to be on the ballot.
Kennedy's 11th hour effort to remove his name from Wisconsin's ballot, and now the push to change state law. Representative Scott Krug with his proposal is here just moments away.
This is Upfront with Jaron Jordan and political director Matt Smith.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Mail-in voting now underway this weekend in Wisconsin. The first round of absentee ballots arriving at homes statewide.
And the race for president razor thin. The battleground blitz continues this week in the Harris campaign in Madison Friday, looking to secure the Democratic base.
Vice President Kamala Harris in Madison Friday night, the Democratic stronghold with a booming and growing Democratic base that could upend how elections are traditionally won in the state.
We're all excited about change, and we're changing the page and we're moving forward.
Harris Friday on a two-state battleground tour, Georgia and Wisconsin. The stakes incredibly high in a state that could determine it all.
Taking this excitement, talking to everyone I know to have a plan to vote on Election Day, to be early voting, to be using all the tools that we have.
The Harris campaign, though, facing some growing criticism. Few interviews and more scripted rallies on the campaign trail in what will be the shortest presidential campaign in modern history.
Is it a reality when people say if Democrats have an incredibly strong turnout here, it can offset the Republican gains in the other parts of the state?
Well, we compete in every corner of Wisconsin, so we try to shrink margins in red areas and expand margins in blue areas. We just have to expect very high Trump turnout this year, and that means Democrats have to work even harder. Dane County, it does rack up the kinds of margins that allow us to make up for really tough, other parts of Wisconsin. We also need Democrats to show up in rural areas and suburbs and small towns. It's a whole of state strategy.
Madison Mayor Sadia Rhodes Conway.
From your perspective, how critical is it to get Democrats in Madison and Dane County out to the polls? What power do you guys have here?
I think it's a really critical thing for Wisconsin, and we know this, right, about Wisconsin. We know everything is going to be really close, right? All of our elections are close in Wisconsin. But the margin, and as you heard Ben Wickler say, the margin of effort is here in Dane County. So we've got people knocking doors, all over town on a regular basis, and the energy that I'm feeling from the volunteers is fantastic. So I'm feeling really optimistic.
Does Dane County hold the cards in terms of what Democratic performance will look like in this state?
I think we are a very large part of it, but honestly, it does take the entire state, and for the first time in a long time, I think Democrats are organizing statewide, and we're feeling this momentum and energy since Kamala Harris entered the race, and I'm feeling pretty optimistic, but we have to do the work.
The city and county has exploded in population in recent years. What has that done to the landscape of Wisconsin politics?
Yeah, well, the center of gravity is shifting towards Dane County because our population is growing so rapidly. Dane County is a very highly Democratic performing area of the state. And so I think we will continue to see that. I think we're getting even deeper blue than we have been before. And as our population grows, that changes the calculus a little bit about where you need to win.
What's your gauge on enthusiasm and where it stands here in the city and the county?
Yeah, super high enthusiasm. I think people are really fired up.
Former 2020 Democratic presidential candidate and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard alongside RFK Jr. in Vegas this weekend, campaigning for former President Donald Trump. Gabbard was recently in Wisconsin hosting a town hall with Trump in La Crosse after she officially endorsed him ahead of Election Day. Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's good to speak with you.
You were recently here in Wisconsin with former President Trump in La Crosse. Does he need to win Wisconsin to win the White House?
Wisconsin is such an important state, yes, and he's not taking any state or any vote for granted. I think you're going to continue to see both President Trump and many others visiting Wisconsin over the next 47 days to really talk about what's at stake in this election and how the choice is not traditional in the sense of this is about Democrats versus Republicans. The fundamental issues that are at stake here are impacting all of us as Americans.
Tulsi, you've been named part of the transition team alongside RFK Jr. If Trump wins, I'm curious right now on the ground, what does that look like?
Not a whole lot, to be very honest. President Trump and all of us are very focused on this election. Obviously, there is no transition if he does not win the election. So I'm sure there's some administrative work that's begun. But really what is going to need to happen is to bring together a fantastic team of Americans, irrespective of political party, who are committed to the Constitution and putting the interests of the American people first.
You've said recently, as a former Democrat, you would be open to a position in a Trump administration. I'm curious, have you had that conversation with him yet?
No, I haven't. Like I said, he is laser focused on getting out and speaking to as many Americans as possible before Election Day and earning their trust and their confidence.
Polling in Wisconsin shows some 12% of independent voters are undecided. You are a former Democrat. What does Trump need to do specifically to win over those independent voters?
I think continue to point out his record and contrast that with Vice President Harris's record as she has served in the White House over these last 4 years. You know, in the big mainstream media, there's a lot of noise to me, what I believe are distractions away from really this fundamental contrast that I'm encouraging voters to look at. President Trump is encouraging voters to look at on issues that are most important to us all, because we have a rare opportunity to have two candidates running for president who actually have a record. You don't just have to take their word for it. You can look at what they have actually done during their tenure in the White House on issues related, first and foremost, to our economy, on cost of living. There's a huge difference where things were far more affordable under President Trump. People's paychecks went a lot farther than they have under the Harris-Biden administration. You look at border security, you look at crime and safety within our communities.
Does falsely talking about migrants eating cats and dogs, does that help or hurt the effort to win over those voters who are still undecided?
I think the focus really is and should continue to be on the fact that under Vice President Harris, who's really her first task under Joe Biden was border security. And the fact that under her leadership over these last 4 years, we've seen tens of millions of illegal immigrants coming across our borders, having a very real direct effect, not just on our border states anymore, as it has been traditionally, but in all parts of our country.
From your perspective, how is the Trump campaign feeling as we sit here less than 50 days out, especially when you look to all these key swing states like Wisconsin?
I think optimistic, but very focused on not taking a single voter for granted, not taking a single state for granted, and recognizing that in this country, in this democratic republic, our founders envisioned a government that we, the people, get to choose, and recognizing they're the ones who ultimately make their decision in this election. Tulsi
Gabbard, the former Democratic Congresswoman and presidential candidate. Tulsi, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Great to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Up next, election officials on the front lines. Absentee ballots in the mail this weekend. Now the bipartisan plea to trust the process. That's next.